नमस्कार दोस्तों और जय हिंद। आप सभी को स्वागत है इन माय चैनल 1971 वॉर बुक सीरीज। तो दोस्तों, ब्रावो स्क्वाड्रन ऑफ द 45 कैवलरी रेजिमेंट के दो ऑफिसर्स के साथ आपने मेरे पॉडकास्ट तो देखे ही होंगे इन माय चैनल। आज हम एक थर्ड ऑफिसर को लाए हैं who was a lieutenant and a troop commander in the 1971 war from Bravo Squadron, taking part in the battles to liberate Jasor and eventually to liberate Khulna as well, including carrying out many amphibious river crossings using his PT-76 light amphibious tanks as well, including decimating Pakistani bunkers. Major General R.P.S. Bhandari ka military career has started from the 1971 war itself. He was commissioned in 1969 and he spent all his life in the Armored Corps, also commanding the 33rd Armored Division of the Indian Armed Forces as well. So let's welcome Major General R.P.S. Bhandari to our program today.
Devu, actually, it's very good of you to get Bravo Squadron officers who had participated in the war, Bangladesh war, to give them their experiences of their battle actions.
It's my pleasure, sir. It's my pleasure.
You see, today I will be talking about my experiences, and then it's after 53 years of war, but frankly the actions are still very vividly in our mind. I will be covering mainly my troop actions.
Okay.
We'll also mention overall picture which was generally known to me. I was the leading troop leader of Bravo Squadron, commanding number 1 troop.
Okay.
And was generally engaged throughout 26 days of war. For us, it was 26 days of war. That is starting from night of 20th, 21st November till 16 December.
Okay.
And mainly, my troop was acting either independently or generally leading the advance of our actions of our squadron. Just to tell you, I was very fortunate that I operated with 8 different infantry battalions in action. I'll give you the names subsequently as we go along. Right?
Okay.
I had just about 2.5 years of service, was young and looking forward to actions in combat. Throughout the war, my aim, like any young officer, was to try destroying the maximum enemy, also to ensure that there is no harm came to my troop. You see, I was just a troop leader, responsible for 3 tanks. So at that time, it was my responsibility and I was trying to work it out.
And you had PT-76 tanks, right, sir?
Right, PT-76. Our Bravo Squadron had PT-76 tanks. In fact, the regiment had PT-76 tanks at that time.
Okay.
I had very spirited men in my troop who were daring and also ready to lay down their lives for our nation, our regiment. My other 2 tanks were commanded by young and brave NCOs. I had only had NCOs with me, namely Dafadar Murugan was the troop Dafadar and commanding 1 tank, and the 2nd tank was commanded by Lance Dafadar N.R. Pillai.
Lance Dafadar?
N.R. Pillai.
N.R. Pillai. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. God bless his soul. He retired as an honorary captain, but he died a few years ago.
Okay.
My own tank crew, the 3 members along with me were Lance Dafadar Varghese was the gunner. Acting Lance Dafadar Velayudan was our driver, and Sawar Rokia Swami was my buddy and a loader. As you know, And you have been told earlier also that our PT-76 tank had initially had 3-member crew, but we had modified to make our commander stand behind the gunner's seat. So we had 4-member crew. Here I wish to proudly tell you that with God's grace, all my troop members came out of war safe and sound.
Okay.
And here I am reminiscing after 53 years of war about our actions.
Wonderful, sir. Entire troop surviving
Yeah.
the war.
We were very fortunate, and I'll tell you how all actions when we are taken throughout the war. During the war, my own prayer used to be to our Lord to either give me a chance to sacrifice myself fighting for my country or bring me back safe and sound. No major injury for my entire troop, that used to be my prayer, so that we are not disabled for life.
Right.
I, being a Sikh soldier, used to carry a small photograph of our Guru, 10th Guru, Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the warrior Guru of Sikhs, to give me inspiration. Let me also tell you that during the initial stage, there was a bit of fear. Well, that was on the first day. However, it got vanished as we got involved in the first combat, and then we realized that one would not even hear the sound of a shell or a bullet which was meant for you. So
Right.
any sound of the shelling that meant it was not for you, so there was no worry. Generally my troop always on the move to some action or the other during complete 26 days of war, like I said earlier. And we hardly got any rest throughout this duration, but whenever we had some time, my crew used to dig a trench 6 feet by 6 feet and 1 foot deep. And on the trench we used to place our tank, crawl under that, and then all of us rest for some time together.
Acha.
And of course, our troop always had kept one tank as a sentry alert post. A few words about myself. I am from 34th NDA course. That was, we joined in July 1965 and was commissioned from IMA in June 1969. Well, I was very fortunate that I was commissioned in 45 Cavalry and joined the regiment at Bagra Court
Acha.
in July same year.
Okay.
On joining the regiment, I was allotted Charlie Squadron, but just before the war, I was shifted to Bravo Squadron as number 1 troop leader. If I am allowed to boast a bit, I was the first officer of 45 Cavalry who was awarded a Silver Centurion, that is Gansham Trophy, for standing first in a young officers course of 1969-70.
Wow. YO's course, right?
IOS course. I was very fortunate. Okay, before I come on to actions of my troop, let me acquaint you with some information of our regiment before the war. Perhaps some has already been told to you, but I would like to go over some information. We were located at Kanchanapara, as you know, before the war, and preparations were in full swing. During the months of March to May of that year, 1971, 2 of us, Lieutenant Tejinder Singh, brave Teji, who got injured during the initial battle of Gripur, and myself, we were sent to Chakulia, which was World War II disabled airfield in Bihar, for training of Mukti Bahini.
Okay. Then you
Yeah.
must have met Major Shankar Roy Chaudhary as well, Armored Corps officer. Major.
Sorry?
Then you must have met Major Shankar Roy Chaudhary, Armored Corps officer.
I don't remember, maybe he was in a different camp. You see, there were many places where the Mukti Bahini training was being done,
Acha, acha.
maybe. I also remember that on the eve of Diwali of 1971, perhaps 17th or 18th October, the regiment received emergency signal to move to its concentration area. Perhaps the only emergency signal the regiment would have ever received in its history. We all got into preparations to move. However, that got deferred and it was postponed subsequently.
Okay.
Now, I would like to remember and give you the officers who were present in a regiment who participated in this war. In our regimental headquarters, Colonel Digby Jamwal was our commander, Major Bhore was the 2IC, Captain Indrajit was our adjutant, and Captain Rekhi was a technical adjutant.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they all have left for their heavenly abode. May God bless their soul. In addition, then Captain Ravi Bains was the intelligence officer. Well, he lives here in Chandigarh.
Acha, acha, acha.
Alpha Squadron. This squadron was given to 4 Infantry Division and was detached from the regiment. It was commanded by then Major P.K. Batra. And in addition to him, they had 3 officers. Captain Harry Puri was the 2IC. They had 2 young officers, Lieutenant Harshvardhan and Lieutenant Chandavarkar. Lieutenant Chandavarkar, as you know, died fighting a great battle with 4 Infantry Division.
Right.
Our Bravo Squadron initially was commanded by Major Chakravarti. Well, he again was very unfortunate. On the last day of battle on 16th, he got a artillery splinter in his back and he was paralyzed waist downwards for life.
For life.
Yeah. And a few years ago, he had passed on.
Where did he used to live, sir?
He was from Bengal. I think then he was also in Patna. I'm not very sure, but somewhere then he was. Major Gulati took over a squadron on 2nd of December, having joined the regiment a day prior. We had then Captain Gupta as a 2IC, and beside me we had 2nd Lieutenant Mishra as a troop leader. Charlie Squadron had a very brave squadron commander and late Major D.S. Narag, who died fighting Gripur battle, in which, let me tell you, his squadron destroyed enemy's 11 Shafi tanks in a squadron versus squadron battle, creating a record in the history of warfare.
Right.
One of his desires was, he was a bachelor, one of the desires was to have a glass of beer in Jessore, which of course unfortunately it was not fulfilled, but I must tell you, and I'll cover it a little later, my troop was the first to enter Jessore and that is the time one remembered him. Captain Balram Mehta was the squadron 2IC and they had 2 troop leaders, Lieutenant Tejinder Singh and 2nd Lieutenant Narayan Singh, who also got injured when his tank went over anti-tank mine. Major Surinder Singh took over the squadron either on 5th or 6th of December. In addition, we had 2 EAB officers. Our OC LRW was Captain Swan Singh and Captain SS Rai was OC of FRI, that is Field Repair Increment.
Acha, acha.
Okay, now having given you all this information, now I will now try and confine mainly to my troop actions. 14th November saw our regiment along with Bravo Squadron of 63rd Cavalry. They had T-55 tanks with them, and we designated them as our Delta Squadron. This squadron was under then Major Sonpa. They moved from Kancharapara to area Balarampur
Acha. At that time, who was the squadron commander, sir?
of Major
Major
Chakravarti.
Chakravarti. Okay.
However, our squadron was not along with the regiment. We were separately with 42 Infantry Brigade in area Ichhapur.
Acha. Okay.
And in fact, my troop was also detached with 32 Infantry Brigade.
Acha, with 32 brigade.
32 Infantry Brigade. Initial.
Okay, okay.
15th, 16th were utilized to carry out reconnaissance of forward concentration area at Baira. Also, some routes to East Pakistan with the help of Mukti Fauj.
Okay.
17 to 19, lesser squadron, the regiment moved to forward concentration area at Kurulia,
Acha.
and our Bravo squadron joined subsequently on the 20th night, and I was also thereafter ordered, and I also joined the squadron and the regiment. At 2300 hours on 20th, that is night of 20th, 21st November, squadron moved to Chogacha to relieve Delta Squadron.
Acha.
Okay. And on that night by 0200 hours, we had relieved them, and we were in area of Fort Sikh. Paki's first airstrike came on the morning of 22nd.
Okay.
And during the night, and that time we were deployed, we were locating, engaging and destroying the enemy bunkers east of river Kabadak.
In Chogacha side.
Yes.
Okay.
22nd
This
November.
was just two troops, right, sir? Yours and
No, our squadron was there at that
the
time.
entire squadron. Okay.
Yes. And 22nd November morning at about 8:30, the enemy struck our position once again at Chogacha and Garipur.
Okay.
Well, no damage to our Bravo squadron tanks. However, one tank of Charlie squadron was destroyed by a rocket.
Acha.
Enemy made second airstrike of the day after about 2 hours, but fortunately there was no damage. We continued our bunker bursting, and this is how, and I think 5-6 bunkers were destroyed by my troop. But we were wondering as to why our Air Force was not coming in to take on the Pakis air. And well, enemy air struck for the third time on that day at 1500 hours. And during that strike we were very happy because our Nats also came in,
Acha.
and our Nats destroyed 3 of Paki's sabres on 22nd. 2 Paki pilots were captured. I was with 4 Sikh. My troop was deployed with them, and one of the pilots, I still remember, Flight Lieutenant Mehdi, a tall, handsome young pilot. He was captured by my troop and by the soldiers of 4 Sikh.
Okay.
Perhaps 4 Sikh soldiers also gave him a bit of thrashing, not much. I remember that this pilot was a brave and a good man, because what he told me was, he said, when I was up in the air, it was my day. Now I am your prisoner, you can do whatever you wish to. However, he was not harmed much, He was taken as prisoner of war by troops of Forsyth and later sent to brigade and div headquarters for further interrogation. On 23rd November, that is next day, morning at about 0900 hours, the squadron was ordered to pull out of Chogacha and we concentrated at Baira. And there we remained for next 2-3 days. And what I remember is that generally maintenance was carried out and no much movement because we were told because of UN intervention, it was being conveyed that we had not gone much inside East Pakistan.
Okay.
Then on 26th November, at early morning, 0400 hours, the squadron moved to Bhadra.
From Chogacha to Bhadra.
Bhadra.
Okay.
All troop leaders and tank commanders went to forward defended localities to carry out recce, familiarize with the area of Charlie squadron tanks, and during the day we relieved them.
Okay.
27th was a quiet day for us. Crews were rested, tanks were maintained. On the same day, my troop at about 1800 hours was moved to one jet rifle
Acha.
located at Uzirpur, Palua,
Ujitpur. Acha. Okay.
and mainly to shoot up enemy bunkers, which was successfully carried out by lot of 80 rounds and more than 3,000 machine gun bullets. Now a word about initial Burinda battle.
So another question, sir. In that battle of Ujitpur, you fired total. Your troop fired 80 rounds.
We fired about, it's a recorded thing that we fired about 13 HE rounds and 3,000 machine gun fire. I mean, this is carried out by us.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I want to cover a bit of initial Burinda battle. Pakis had a kind of a strong point at Burinda, basically to stall our move forward to Jassore.
Acha.
My troop remained in Paula and continued to dominate the enemy and were destroying the enemy bunkers from one jet rifle location. We also were trying to locate if Pakistan had any tanks in that location so that we could fight and destroy them, but unfortunately we were not lucky, there were no tanks. Burinda was a well established and well prepared location by Pakistan. They even had 5.0 Browning machine guns.
Acha.
And let me tell you, the sound of 5.0 Browning was very deadly. Subsequently,
50 caliber, right, sir?
yes, .50. Subsequently, one company of one jet rifle and my troop, we were given the orders to move west of Burinda and establish a firm base about 1,000 meters from Burinda. The briefing was done by the commanding officer of one jet rifle. Even the brigade commander was present, and I remember that very clearly because orders were very clearly given and tasked that the company would only go and firm in, my troop will give them support, and subsequent operation of clearing this location will be by some other troops.
Okay.
So in the afternoon the recce was carried out and by my tank commanders and by company and platoon commanders in the afternoon till about last light, and at the same time then Captain Gupta was having 4 tanks with him, and he was also ordered to move to my location to reinforce our troops.
Okay.
So in the evening, we moved with my troop leading and one Jack company with us. And by 2200 hours, the company was in its position and the famine was complete.
Okay.
What happened now at after midnight, around 0100 hours, the company commander came on radio and asked me to lift fire of my tanks. I really do not remember the name of the company commander, but when I asked him the reason for lifting of fire, so he told me that he's now been ordered to launch an attack on the enemy position.
Acha.
So when I queried him as to where will he be launching the assault from and direction, he himself was not very clear. You see, because like I mentioned to you, the initial orders were only to go and farm it, which he had done properly.
Okay.
So, well, it was now looking back, perhaps it was an unfortunate, a very hasty decision by high commanders. The order to carry out the attack was contrary to my mind, to a young mind at that time, because this was not, because we had very much clarified in the beginning that this company was to only farm it with support of my tanks.
Acha.
Since you see PT-76 tanks do not have accurate night firing capability, and more so since the assault of infantry was in line of my shooting fire of tanks, perforce I had to lift fire,
Acha.
and very little tank support could be given to them.
Raat mein attack, I guess you didn't even have night navigation aid for firing or anything at that time.
Yeah, PT-76 doesn't have that capability. Effective fire is not. And then you see the infantry assaulting was in the same shooting line of my tanks.
You cannot fire, yeah.
So it was very difficult. When at about 0200 hours and infantry launched its attack, the enemy brought very heavy arty shelling and 5 Browning on them, also arty shelling on my tanks.
Acha.
Though I tried to maneuver from the side to help them out, but I was quite helpless and the assault was a failure. The company suffered many casualties, both dead and injured. My tanks tried to dominate the enemy location, but due to own infantry, like I said, we were much handicapped. My own tank fired more than 20 80 rounds and 7 belts of machine gun in that action, but it was of not much help.
20 HE rounds destroying the bunkers.
20 HE round, my tank itself, and other tanks were also firing. Well, I think it definitely was a company or a company plus position,
Acha.
right? Though we had moved out by then, and this was captured subsequently.
Acha.
But coming back to my own particular information of this, then now the company commander located my tank, and I remember he came up to me. My tank crew used to carry tea with us, so he was offered tea. He was devastated and demoralized because there were many casualties. His platoon commanders and the forward artillery officer were also injured.
Acha.
A lot of enemy shelling was on our tanks. Captain Gupta's 4 tanks, among them 1 tank got a direct hit by the enemy arty shelling. So you can well imagine what was the kind of artillery that we were getting, shelling we were getting on our tanks. Thereafter, number 2 troop of Bravo Squadron, Delta Squadron, that is Bravo Squadron of 63rd Cavalry, was called forward and they joined our location. You see, during morning of next day, because PT-76, we don't have much armor protection. So we could not take PT-76 forward, and T-55s were taken forward to help our casualties and to evacuate them. Thereafter, that particular day, our tanks, that is Captain Gupta's and my tank, we were pulled back, and we moved back to area Singajoli Khurd.
Singajoli, acha, acha. On the
Singajoli.
road to Chogacha to Jasor, right, sir?
Right. Now, on next 2 days, that is 30th and 1st of December, not much activities in our areas. Major Gulati, like I mentioned to you, took over the squadron on the 2nd of December, and he was apprised about the action so far we had undertaken. You also know that on 3rd December in the evening, Pakistanis carried out a preemptive in the Western Theatre,
Right, right.
and we were told to be careful, and all tanks were under proper camouflage concealment. On 4th, at early morning, we were at south of Chogacha. The regiment also got 2 T-55 tanks from 80 ADR. ADR is Armed Infantry Regiment, and they were given to us in Bravo Squadron. So now Bravo Squadron, also Delta Squadron commanders were briefed for the impending thrust for Durga Barkati and move on to Jasor.
Okay.
We carried out intensive recce. 5th December was a quiet day except for preparations for this particular action, and a word about Battle of Durga Barkati. It was again a strong point, perhaps of a company and a company minus strength. On 6th December, 19 MLI, along with our squadron, advanced toward Durga Barkati. My number 1 troop, under 2nd Sikh Allied, moved northwards to protect the northern flank.
Okay.
Own airstrike came at 0930 hours, but I think not much damage was done to the enemy's artillery guns, because we were still getting a lot of artillery shelling.
This was also coming from Jasor, right, sir? Some of the artillery fire?
Between perhaps Jasor, or maybe between Jasor and Khulna, where the artillery gun locations were.
Okay.
My troop, along with 2nd Sikh Allied, went north of Durga Barkati, and we attacked from that direction. The fire base was by the 5 tanks with Major Gulati, and also 5 tanks for T-55 had also reinforced it. Probing of minefield was carried out, and 2nd Sikh Allied, we had formed it. Now, the Durga Barkati was captured by midday around 1200 hours. Reorganization was in progress, and my troop was with 2nd Sikh Allied. Here I remember the name of the CO 2nd Sikh Allied very clearly.
Acha.
He is Colonel ABCD.
Mellow.
ABC de Mello.
The Mellow.
Very spirited CO, and he was there along with his burly, tall Sikh Subedar Major, motivating their troops. You see, what happened was, the CO asked me that I should split my troop and give 1 tank each to his companies, which was basically contrary to the basic tactics of our tank troop leading. That is not to split our tanks from a mutual sport in a troop, but CO convinced me. And he said getting 1 tank by a company would enhance the morale and the fighting spirit of the troops, and I for once gave in and placed 1 tank each with the company. I remember that. And I remember that the Sikh soldiers were so happy to receive the tanks with full josh.
Now sir, I had another question. एक
हाँ जी।
बटालियन में तो 4 कंपनीज है, आपके पास
That-
3 है।
हमारे पास तीन, that's right.
हाँ।
But you see, when the reorg takes place, it's not all the four companies which are deployed in two altogether in front. And basically, the companies which were towards the enemy direction, that is where he asked for the tanks, though little distance apart, so it was accepted.
Okay.
I mean, I remember that, that's why I'm sharing this with you.
अच्छा अच्छा।
Okay. Now, on same day, Bravo Squadron, that is our squadron, was south of Arzi Kotlipur by midnight.
Okay.
7th December, an important date for my troop, because that is the date when we entered Jessore. The advance to Jessore started with my troop leading the advance. 14 Punjab was with our squadron.
अच्छा
14 Punjab was being carried by our squadron, less my troop, because my troop was leading the advance and we did not have any infantry. Since there was not much enemy encountered, we moved with full speed. There was no opposition, and we entered Jessore from northeast
okay
and reached the airstrip by 10:30 or a few minutes before that.
actually airstrip is just outside the city to the west
Yeah, cantonment. Yeah, that's right. Though I had not seen the entire city, but I'll tell you whatever little I saw. To give you some more information, we had resumed our advance at early morning at 0600 hours. Squadron along with 14 Punjab swung south to capture place known as Abdulpur and secured the road. We further advanced eastwards to place Churamankati and then swung south to advance to Jessore, Kent. Well, I really feel proud to tell you that my troop tanks were the first Indian troops to enter Jessore. Meanwhile, Delta Squadron of 63rd Cavalry advanced south of Sajali to contact north end of Jessore airfield.
सजाली
Yeah, Sajali.
सजोली अच्छा अच्छा okay
Jessore was secured by midday by about 12:30 hours. It seemed that Jessore, the enemy left Jessore in a great hurry. It was very evident from what we saw, kind of if somebody was doing any work or eating or writing or something, they had just left everything there and ran away.
अच्छा
Yes, the Kent bore a look of a ghost town. But, like I said, whatever little I saw of Jessore, it was a very well laid out cantonment and very well planned military station. Like I mentioned, Major Narag was wanting to have a glass of beer there reaching Jessore. Well, we couldn't have beer, but we remembered him on that very day after entering Jessore.
you must have drank in his honor to be honest sir
Now, after capture of Jessore, our Bravo Squadron at 1500 hours or so, same day, was placed under command of 50 independent para brigade for operation the next day.
अच्छा
You see, I mentioned to you that we were on the move for the entire 26 days, so this is how the armor battle was taking place. Major Gulati, our squadron commander, attended the O group of Commander 50 Para Brigade at a place known as Afra.
afra अच्छा
We harbored for the night at Churamankati, and our RHQ and echelons also had moved into Jessore. Now, 8th December, our squadron, along with 7th Para Battalion, was tasked to move northwards to effect link up with 4 Infantry Division.
Acha.
You see, perhaps the operations of 4 Infantry Division were not moving to the same speed as 9 Infantry Division, that is our division, and to put pressure on enemy, this operation was being undertaken. Here I want to tell you that IO of 7 Para, late Captain U. Ramdas, he was from my Echo Squadron senior, and he was our, in academy was our ACA.
In the NDA?
Adjutant, yes,
Okay.
Academy Cadet Adjutant. And just before we commenced our operation that day, he came up to my tank. He had tea with us, and then our advance started. Now, why I am mentioning this to you, that unfortunately we lost this wonderful officer subsequently in the operations of 7 Para attack on Rajakaz in place known as Khajura.
Acha.
So we lost him. You see, our squadron advanced along Jasor, Jadida, somewhere close to place known as Mitha Pukhuria. We turned eastwards towards Khajura, where minor opposition of Razakars was encountered.
Acha.
My troop was ordered and was sent for outflanking the position, and we moved quickly. 7 Paras launched a company attack from the east with squadron tanks giving fire support from south of Y junction of that area.
Can I ask a question, sir? Here,
Uh,
Pakistani army was not present, just Razakars.
No, it was basically Rajakars. This is the information that we had. Of course, Rajakars are like, they are paramilitary force.
And
Okay.
but to be honest, sir, they have a legacy of running away from battles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this maybe they were some regular soldiers, maybe
Maybe. Yeah.
because they were there, and of course they were killed subsequently. But let me tell you what happened. You see, Lieutenant Mishra had T-55-2 tanks, and they shot up the bunkers and also assaulted the enemy positions overrunning the bunkers. Unfortunately, the action of 7 Para Battalion, where 3 officers were lost. You see, their CO got killed, Captain U. Ramdas, the intelligence officer, got killed, and also Lieutenant Masan, who was officiating as the company commander, the company which launched the attack.
Okay.
Perhaps to my mind, under pressure from brigade headquarters to move faster and clear the opposition, perhaps the young company commander Lieutenant Masan was pushed into this assault without full reckoning, perhaps. And moreover, the Seoul party unfortunately moved forward and came directly under the machine gun bunker. So you're right, these Razakars would have been having some regular troops also, but they had a machine gun. Then along with 1 or 2 other ranks, they were also killed. This position of the last night of our squadron was south of place known as Simakher.
Acha.
Now after this action of 7 Paras and this loss of officers and men, next day on 9 December, early morning, the move commenced along with 8 Paras.
Acha.
My troop was again leading the advance and towards place known as Arpara.
Arpara. Acha.
We floated through river Chitra and met no opposition en route.
Acha.
We reached Arpara by about 10:30 hours, and that is where we learned that Magura had already been captured by 4 Infantry Division and our advance was called off.
Okay.
So this is what our operations were with 50 Independent Para Brigade for 2 days, and I was told subsequently the Para Brigade was lifted for operations in the Western Theatre.
Okay.
We moved back to Jessore and harbored there for the night. Next night, about 2300 hours, the squadron was tasked to release the Delta Squadron, that is squadron of 63rd Cavalry, which was ordered to move to Western Theatre.
Acha.
And then early next day, that is on 10th December, 7 PT-76 tanks were also moved to 4 Infantry Division to reinforce the depleted strength of Alpha Squadron.
कुश्तिया का डिबैकल हो गया था, I guess.
That. And this was taken by Major Chakravarti, who had then become our Squadron 2IC after Major Gulati had joined the battle.
Okay.
Now, on 11th December, early morning, our squadron was moved to Naupara, where we were briefed and ordered for an outflanking move to Daulatpur.
Acha.
Now our formation, that is 9 Infantry Division, now were trying to outflank the enemy from and go on to Daulatpur.
Okay.
This was with one company of 7 paras, 7 Punjab.
Acha. Scott APC.
Yeah, 7 para, they had Scott APCs. Route for this outflanking move was from Gorakhola, Piprel, Aranghata, and then to Daulatpur.
So from this side to the road.
This was the outflanking route. And the aim of outflanking move was to cut the enemy from the eastern direction.
Okay. Okay.
We started at about 0830 hours with my troop leading. It was a close country, dense forests and all, and marshy area. No opposition, and we reached place known as Talna by about 10:30.
Talna.
Talna.
Acha.
At 12:30 we encountered a few Razakars. Infantry was deployed and my tanks fired. Well, Razakars fled, leaving their civil trucks when fired upon by the tanks.
Okay.
After some time, say about 13:30 hours, a bridge en route, a small rivulet was found blown. However, my PT-76s could float across and we crossed the stream and the advance resumed.
ठीक है. Okay.
Around 14:30, a bridge near Aranghata on a river was blown by the enemy.
Okay.
The position was well covered by the bunkers which were made by the enemy there. When my tank, which was leading, was nearing the obstacle, enemy shelled heavily on us. Small arm fire was very intense. So the recce close to the river was not possible. Any move towards a blown up bridge would have resulted in enemy shelling. At about 1500 hours, you see, I had got into a very good hull down position, about 150 to 200 meters away from the bridge, from where I could dominate and fire at the enemy, which was visible at that time.
Acha.
You see, at 1500 hours, second company of 7 Punjab was also ordered to reinforce this force. Recce of the crossing places were ordered after last night.
ठीक है.
However, You see, I again remember very clearly. You see, there are few things of operation, they always remain with you. The 2IC of 7 Punjab, he came up and he came up to my tank, which was placed in a very good position from where I was engaging the enemy. He fetched up, came to me, and he wanted my tank to be moved forward up to the bridge,
Okay.
which generally was not agreed upon by me because I was in a very good position. I was firing at the enemy, I could do it. Well, I thought that I was in a very effective place. So moreover, if I had moved my tank during day towards river, perhaps it would have been a suicidal attempt. So my troop
And the
remained.
enemy had RCL guns, right, sir?
Oh, I'll come to that. Yes, that's right. That's right. Even any other tank would have been, you see, it was an open area towards the bridge. But that doesn't matter. That was his perception, and I felt this is what I'm sharing with you.
Acha, sir.
After last night, we carried out some recce, and during the night, there was a briefing come coordinating meeting between the squadron commander, then Major Gulati, and the 2IC of 7 Punjab, where I was also present. So 2IC 7 Punjab was insisting that I should move my tanks forward, and well, it was generally agreed upon that after recce I will still try and move little more forward to give them more support. However, early morning, 7 Punjab in their exuberance, they took 2 APC Scots close to the bridge on the track, and the 1 APC was shot by the RCL of the enemy. And since my tank was the closer to the APC, my tank troops crew helped in evacuating the injured soldiers of 7 Punjab. So that was very unfortunate, but then it happened like that. Thereafter, squadron got orders not to attempt any crossing during day because enemy was there, and recce was planned to be carried out during night. At night we carried out recce, but observed that it was a well dominated position by the enemy, and he was holding it reasonable strength. So we only could continue firing and destroying whatever we could. On next day, 12th December, since this move was being delayed, also our artillery was also getting out of range, so this was then decided that cancel this particular operation of outflanking, and we were ordered to get back to main axis following the same route. So we got back, tanks were replenished, and repairs arranged on the main road. Now come 13th December, very important for my troop.
Acha.
You see, at about early morning at 6:30, my troop got a task to proceed south of river Bhairav on its western bank to support two companies of 19 Marathas who were ordered to clear the enemy near a road junction there.
Okay.
Due to very close country, the visibility was very restricted, and the move was possible only on the track. Maratha did a great job, and enemy was clear,
Acha.
and I was relieved from there.
Okay.
After this task, at about between 9 and 10 a.m., my troop was placed under command 14 Punjab,
Okay.
with a task to cross river Bhairav, which, as you know, was anywhere between 300 to 350 meters wide,
Huge river.
huge river, and also to cross river Majood Khali and to advance to Barakpur to threaten enemy's flank. Now from a different direction. Here I was personally briefed by my CO, Colonel Digby Jumwal, and also I remember and tell you General Dalbir Singh, the GOC 9 Infantry Division was also there to make me understand the importance of this task which was being assigned.
Okay.
Now, after carrying out recce and briefing my troop, we crossed River Bhairav at Atra Ferry.
Atra
There was no problem, it was a proper ferry, and we crossed that and we started our advance towards Siddipara and thereafter towards Barakpur.
Okay.
Around 1100 hours, we were heavily shelled because this was their territory, they had known it well, their artillery was very effective, they were, getting back in their own territory. Our own air struck at Khulna around 11:30, which gave us some respite from the enemy's artillery. I was also informed at that time that our advance along main axis was progressing well, and they were about 600, 700 north of Siramani. Around
You're almost entering Khulna to the north.
at around 14:45 hours, we crossed Majud Khali River along with 14 Punjab and started moving towards Nandan Pratap.
Nandan Pratap. Okay.
At about 18:30, we reached Barakpur and proceeded towards Maheshwarpur during hours of darkness. Although this was a move which was taking place the whole day. 14 December, early morning, Captain Mehta from Charlie Squadron with 3 tanks was also ordered to proceed to 42 Infantry Brigade on the same route which we had followed to reinforce 3 tanks of mine.
Okay.
During the day, our air once again struck Khulna. Around 1 p.m., Captain Mehta's troops linked up with my force at Maheshwarpur. While the tanks were moving to my direction, my troop was carrying out recce of crossing places on River Bhairav. 15 December, on first light, Captain Mehta and I moved to place known as Devnagar and Chandani Mahal to recce suitable crossing places on Bhairav. Going for tanks was restricted and generally no crossing place could be found as the banks were very steep and the ground was marshy. Moreover, there were jute mills and built up area on the other side of the bank and the Khulna. The crossing places, however, were available near Devnagar to be crossed by experienced drivers. At 2100 hours on 15 December, my troop received orders from 42 Infantry Brigade to cross Bhairav River at Devnagar at 0200 hours at night in support of actions of one company of 2nd Second Line.
Okay.
Here I just want to go back a little and I want to tell you that a new commander of 42 Infantry Brigade had come in, Brigadier Kochar,
Coach.
I remember.
Yes.
A tall handsome brigadier, had taken over.
Because I think Brigadier Gharaya was injured in battle.
Raya got injured by a machine gun fire and Brigadier Kochar had taken over. From the interaction with Brigadier Kochar, and I as a young officer at that time got the impression that he, having joined very recently the battle, he was keen to take chances, move fast and perhaps show boldness.
Acha.
So he had visited my troop a night previous, that is the night of 14th, 15th, in my location near Bhairav River, where we were carrying out and we had finished the recce. There were hardly any crossing places like I mentioned except the ferries. During his visit, he asked me the chances of crossing Bhairav River at night.
Okay.
Before I could reply,
Mm-hmm.
Second Lieutenant Mishra, who was then commanding one of my tanks, he answered. He was having a cigarette and he said, "Sir, 50-50%. So on hearing that we had a chance of 50%, we got orders by Brigadier Kochar. He said, "Go, you can do it." So now coming back on the night of 15th, when we got orders to cross, a company of 2nd Sikh Allied was to cross before us to give a foothold, and tanks were to float and cross thereafter. Now what happened? Very alert company commander who was to cross before us, he opened speculative fire on the other bank.
Acha, acha. Tracers. Using
Heavy-
tracers.
Sorry?
Using tracer fire to understand.
Speculative fire means to find out if there is any enemy or not there.
Acha, acha.
Because you see, he was to cross in boats at night. So heavy fire was received from the enemy side. This response of enemy was reported to the brigade headquarters, and the information given that position was strongly held by enemy, so operation was postponed.
Okay.
So operation of the night of 15th, 16th was postponed. Now come 16th December. Our tanks were moved to Chandni Mahal. Captain Mehta, I, along with Commander 42 Infantry Brigade and CO 14 Punjab, we proceeded to carry recce crossing places, but no satisfactory crossing place was found.
Okay.
Thereafter, the orders were received from 42 Infantry Brigade to cross Bhairav at 1400 hours, that is 2 p.m. with 14 Punjab during day, and they were to cross first to provide us a shallow bridgehead, and then PT 76s were to float in and then move into Khulna. This crossing site was near a jute mill named Star Jute Mill.
Acha.
Well, I remember the name of Star Jute Mill.
Okay.
You see, we had lunch also there.
Okay.
They provided us. Now coming to the last day battle, 16 December. You see, after the cancellation of the last night operation by company of 2nd Sikh Allied and my troop, and we now got the orders to enter Khulna on the day of 16th, and this perhaps was the need of the hour. That is why the operation was being undertaken during daylight. 14 Punjab was tasked to cross first and establish foothold. We had all assembled at Star Jute Mill. CO 14 Punjab, Colonel R.K. Singh, gave orders in our presence, in presence of Captain Mehta and myself. The two companies were ordered to be in the first wave. The company commanders, I remember, asked the CO as to in which wave would he be coming. CO replied that to keep a proper command and control of operations, he would be in the second wave.
Okay.
Both company commanders were reluctant and refused to undertake this task.
Okay.
Well, this happened in front of our eyes, but perhaps now what I feel, and that time as a young officer I felt that this was a suicidal mission which was being perhaps thrust upon 14 Punjab. and the CEO perhaps could not, was in a position to refuse. And to me, as a youngster, the overall higher picture was not known, was not clear. So we were not very clear, but the company commanders had refused. CEO then ordered the other two companies to be in the first wave.
Acha.
Well, it so happened that they also refused. Now, this information was passed on to brigade headquarters. The crossing of Bhairav River during broad light, in boats this information reached the brigade commander, who then ordered tanks will cross first.
Okay.
So Captain Mehta and I were really quite shocked to get this order. However, I was rushed to get the tanks to come slowly as the last light was approaching and the tanks were a little distance away. So we decided to bring the tanks close to the river, prepare them first and brief our troops thoroughly. Now, while I was bringing the tanks to the crossing site, say about 1700 hours or 1730, I was fortunately stopped by the signal officer of 42 Infantry Brigade, who informed me the announcement of ceasefire and of Dhaka surrender.
Acha.
Dhaka surrender had taken place. We were not, we had no information about it. And our operation was still being carried out on 16th afternoon evening. So the operation of crossing of Bhairav River was cancelled. Now, when on the next day on 17th December, when we crossed Bhairav River in non-tactical condition and entered Khulna from the existing ferry site, we were informed about the presence of enemy's naval guns and other weapons in the area of our impending crossing.
Acha, because Khulna was a naval hub, to be honest.
I mean, there were the guns, this is what we were told, that perhaps there were few naval guns also placed there. Our tanks would have been sitting ducks while floating in the river if the operation had gone through as ordered by 42 Infantry Brigade on 16th.
Right.
We thanked our stars that we were saved from sure death. Well, twice for my troop in a span of 18 hours. First by alert company commander of 2nd Sikh Allied, who had opened speculative fire and the enemy fired back, and second by the surrender of Paki forces on
Dhaka.
16 December at Dhaka.
Right. Right.
And that information just reached us in time. So here, friend, are the 26 days operations of my troop, and I told you I operated with 8 different infantry battalions. Let me name them. 4 Sikh, 2nd Sikh Allied, 14 Punjab, 1 Jack, 19 Maratha, 7 Punjab, 7 Para, 8 Para. These are the 8 infantry battalions my troop had participated. So that's all.
And did you witness the surrender, sir? Surrender at Khulna,
That was on 17th.
17th, right?
17th. And you see, we had not participated because we were on the other side and we had crossed during the day. The surrender took place where the balance of our squadron, where Major Gulati, Major Surinder Singh, Captain Gupta, they were there. In fact, they are the ones who had secured the surrender ceremony area. They were there.
Okay. Wonderful, sir. And after the war ended, what was your part? Like, you must have moved back to Suratgarh. That's what I heard. 45 Cav.
Yeah, you see, what happened is now, though the ceasefire had taken place, Western theatre perhaps was still active, and we had no roll of armor in Bangladesh. So our regiment on White Hot priority was moved out of Kanchrapara.
Acha.
We stayed in Khulna for a day or two, moved back to Kanchrapara, and on White Hot priority we moved towards Western Theatre. Initially, the move of our regiment was supposed to be a place known as Dhrangadra in Gujarat.
Acha.
However, en route, we were diverted to Suratgarh in Rajasthan. In 71, Suratgarh was a total desert, not the Suratgarh of today, right? Total desert. And well en route, we got heroes welcome at various stations where the train stopped, and we reached on the night night of 24th December, a night prior to Christmas, and it was very cold in Suratgarh. We had moved from Bangladesh, from Bengal to desert, and we were parked next to a canal. And I remember on that particular night when we all were there, if we had placed some water in the bucket, it was all ice in the morning. So the regiment remained there in Suratgarh thereafter for any impending operations which was to be carried out, and for over a year and a half we were there. In 1973, I think somewhere around March or so, we moved to Patiala.
Acha.
And in July 73, I moved out on ERE. I went as a G3 Ops to 14 Independent Armored Brigade.
Okay. So you're a captain by that time.
By then, I had picked up my captain's rank. I was captain then, and then I, well, God has been kind. Thereafter, I continued in this wonderful army of ours, and with God's grace, I reached the rank where I retired.
Okay. So could you talk a bit about your successive commands that you must have held, sir?
Okay, all right. You see, 73 to 76, I was in 14 Independent Armed Brigade, the formation which I was fortunate to command subsequently. I'll tell you later. Then 76, I came back to regiment at Kanchrapara. From then, I was moved in 78 to Ahmednagar as instructor in tactical wing of Armored Course Entrance School.
Acha.
That is where, in fact, I was preparing and I got nominated for Staff College. But before I could join Staff College, I met with a tank accident. I came under a tank, overhead tank.
This was what tank,
Yeah.
sir? Like which tank was it?
God was very kind. Well, I've been very fortunate to be alive today. You see, what happened was there was a new regiment being raised in Ahmednagar, 89 Armored Regiment. It was their battle test exercise. I was not involved. I was to go for another course that to Pune, but one umpire got eye allergy and he was hospitalized. By the conducting officer of TAC wing who was conducting this exercise, he asked me what I was doing. I was free. I said, I'll be with you. As an umpire on a squadron commander's tank, we were there in exercise in KK ranges, and on the night of 20th July 1980, this squadron, when it was later asked to advance, midnight or maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, pitch dark, raining. The driver thought it was a field divider and the tank should not give a jerk. Unfortunately, it was a sheer 4 feet drop. The track could not be on the ground and the tank overturned. So I was sitting on the cupola. 2 more men of his were there with me on the cupola. I didn't even hear the sound. They died. My arm was in the cupola for 2 hours. My leg broke. My arm paralyzed. And but I was saved. The crew got saved because of overhead tank. They were
And
in the
like
place
this, sir, tank.
fully overturned. That's right. And it remained there for about almost 2 hours because I could not be retrieved. So that's a different story. But God was very kind. So I could not go for my staff college. I came back to the regiment when I was discharged from the hospital. I was back fully recovered. I could play hockey back hockey for my regiment, and I went to staff college 2 years later with the High Court Calcutta's orders.
Acha, acha.
That's another different story. But and then from finishing the staff college, I came back to the regiment in '84. Then I was posted out to new regiment, that is 12 Armored Regiment, which I commanded from '89 to '90. Then I was posted as instructor staff college. Before that, I had gone as a G1 ops to Rajouri,
Acha, acha.
and after instructor staff college, I was Colonel GS of Armored Corps Entrance School. Then lucky to command 14 Independent Armed Brigade. Then as a brigadier, back in Ahmednagar to command School of Armored Warfare,
Acha, acha.
and then as head of training team and staff college. Then fortunately commanded my armored division in SR, that is 33rd Armored Division, and moved to Chief of Staff 2 Corps, from where I retired in 2006,
Chief of Staff of 2 Corps. Right, right.
Ambala.
Ambala.
So God has been kind. The army was very good to me, and I tell you frankly, nothing like being in services. Thoroughly enjoyed being army man.
Wonderful, sir. 33rd Armored Division. Wow. Okay. Right.
But actions of 45 Cavalry were tremendous.
Tremendous.
Of course, our squadron was a different thing. Only point that we still have is that we would have got 2 more battle honors, one of Gharipur and one of Siramani, which unfortunately we have not been able to. Let's see what happens. We will still continue to try and get it for the regiment.
I hope that happens, sir. I mean, yeah,
Let's
even
hope.
if it's 53 years, because your regiment did a lot to support
Oh,
the
yeah.
infantry, a lot. As far as
Yes.
I have studied.
Yeah,
And
you're
without-
absolutely.
Without tanks, it's difficult to win a war.
Yeah, that's right. And you see, what happens is, for the tanks in a war, there is no respite. You are required for some action or the other, because you're always on the move, and it is actually so. And you know now, as a young officer, perhaps I felt sometime that these were the orders taken by higher commanders, which could not have been. But then, having commanded my armored division, then later on, you see, to achieve your aim and mission, you perhaps are at that stage ready to even lose much more. Right? As a troop leader, you can't afford to lose a single man or a single tank.
Right, right.
But at a divisional level, which is the highest
yeah.
armor formation, having more than 900 air vehicles, tanks, APCs, guns, AD, all that, engineers, you can perhaps can lose up to even 1/3 to achieve your mission. So you see, perception differs at every level.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
That is war, of course.
Yeah, that's war. Okay. Good of you, my dear.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for speaking about 71 war, and thank you for whatever you did and your troop did, sir.
Yeah, I was fortunate because I had a wonderful troop, wonderful men, very good, very brave men, very brave.
And were you invited to Bangladesh, sir? by the delegation that goes?
No, I have not been. I have not been. Perhaps, in fact, this year, no, last December, people were saying that perhaps again a delegation was to go, but now the situation
Has
being
changed.
totally different. And that's okay. That happens with nations, and everybody has its own way of thinking.
Right, sir. Okay. So lovely chatting to you with you, sir.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you.